If you are ignoring your social media analytics, you're really missing out on these social media platforms telling you exactly what's working and what you should post next. Now, I know that looking at your analytics can be a lot of information, a lot of numbers you feel like you have to keep track of, but in today's video, I'm going to break it all down and cut out the fluff. We're going to go over the main analytics you need to watch as a small business owner to grow your business online. Forget vanity metrics like followers and like count. I'm going to show you the numbers that really matter and how they can help you grow. My name's Tori, and I'm your go-to social media coach, and it is my goal to give you common sense social media strategies that ultimately make social media a powerful and positive tool for your business and help you grow your business online. Let's start with why social media analytics even matter to you and your business. Social media analytics are the way to see what's been working and what isn't working in what you've been posting to social media. Rather than guessing what your audience wants, you get concrete data about the type of content they prefer, how they like to be engaged with, and even the best times to post. If you've ever posted and prayed that it'll work out, or if you feel like you have a blindfold on and you're just throwing darts and hoping you hit a bullseye, that's what analytics helps us avoid. Analytics is like taking the blindfold off and seeing exactly what your audience wants to see from you on social media. They tell you what's resonating with your audience, what's not, and how you can pivot to make better content for your audience. Now, I want to tackle a very common misconception right off the bat. Follower count does not matter anymore. Social media platforms don't care how many followers you have. And actually, if you have a lot of followers and you aren't getting the engagement, the comments, and the shares that these social platforms like to see, the algorithm might actually dock you a little bit because it thinks you have all these followers, why are you not getting the engagement you should be getting? At the end of the day, if you're not getting those engagement numbers, the follower count is just that, a count. It's just a number. It doesn't really do anything for the health of your social media presence. Remember, social media is about relationships. It's about building community and genuine engagement that's really going to bring you success, not your follower count. Now let's go over the 5 key metrics every business should track month to month on their social media. All 5 of these are important, but number 5 is my favorite, so don't leave early. And if you want to skip around or refer back later, I do have this video timestamped below. The first metric I want you to watch is shares. The share button is gold. It's modern word-of-mouth marketing, and when you post something that's shareable that people want to send to their friends, they are essentially giving you a stamp of approval. And Instagram has even come out and said that the send button or shareable content, if it's being sent to people via DM, that is the most important metric on their algorithm right now. I'll give you a few quick examples here. The first being educational or how-to content, because people love to learn new things and want to share these new things with their friends as long as it's related to their interests or needs. The second is quotes or relatable content. People love to feel seen and they love to feel relatable, so they want to share that type of content with friends who also would relate to it. Also, things are generally shared for their emotional impact, so it's a good rule of thumb there. And third is anything humor related like memes. Those can be some of the most viral pieces of content. So as long as a meme is related to your brand or speaks to what your brand speaks to, that can be another great option for you. So when you're in your analytics, I want you to look at shares by post. Which posts had the most shares and why? Was it because it was a different type of content? Was it funny? Did it resonate with people? Did it teach them something? Was it a contest? Whatever that was, see if we can recreate that with new content going forward. The second metric we want to watch is saves. Saves are an underrated but very impactful metric. When someone saves your post, they're saying that this is really valuable and I want to come back to it later. It tells the algorithm that your content is evergreen, it's useful over time, and it's going to help the algorithm to know to boost your content to be seen by more people. A good rule of thumb if you're wanting to create savable content is to provide a lot of really helpful, useful information that someone can't process it all at once and they have to come back and refer to it later. Another good option here if you want someone to save your content is to ask them to save it. Make sure that you're asking for it within a carousel or within the reel or even within the caption. Save this so you can come back to it later. And to track saves, just like we tracked shares, you're going to look by post and see which one's got the most saves. Why did they get saved? Did we provide a lot of really useful information? Did we ask people to save this to refer back to it later? Was it a specific type of content that seemed to resonate better? Whatever it is, track that month to month to see if you can find patterns, and those patterns will help inform you moving forward. The third metric to track is comments and conversations. Comments are very important on social media sites, and that's not just nice post or thanks or emojis. Actual meaningful conversations happening in your comments. That's what social platforms like to see. The more you are commenting back and forth with users on your content, the more the algorithm is going to see that your content is really valuable and it's increasing traffic on their platform, which is what they want ultimately, and it will bring more people to your content as well. To get more meaningful comments, we want to be posting content that is thought-provoking. We want to be asking open-ended questions in our captions or on the content itself. Maybe something like, tell me more about your experience with blank. What made it unforgettable? Or what's your favorite blank? Tell me why. Asking those kind of questions in your content will get you more meaningful comments moving forward. And just like with the last two key metrics, when you want to track this, you look at which posts received the most comments and why. Follow those patterns, and that's going to inform you moving forward. The fourth metric I want you to watch is reach and impressions. While these aren't as important as engagement metrics, if you're having a hard time letting go of that follower count, this is what I want you to look at instead. If you don't know the difference between reach and impressions, reach refers to the unique users that you've reached, whereas impressions is how many times the content was seen. In other words, impressions will always be higher than reach because reach is the number of people and impressions is how many times it was seen. People can see it more than once. Reach and impressions are important to watch to see how far your content is spreading. If you are seeing that your reach and impressions are really high and your engagement is really low, that means we want to work on increasing the amount of engagement you're getting per post. And the inverse is true. If you're getting a lot of engagement, but just the reach isn't quite there, then you want to focus on more about me or discoverable content to increase the amount of reach you're receiving. And again, when it comes time to track and look for patterns, month to month, we're looking at those reach numbers, those impression numbers, looking specifically at which posts garnered the most reach and impressions and why that was the case. Why did this one get more reach than any of the others? Sometimes that will correlate with high engagement and sometimes not. Sometimes it's just people enjoyed watching it or the algorithm really wanted to push it. And how can we do that again? How can we make the algorithm want to push our content again? That's when we look for those patterns to see what they all have in common and how we can recreate that moving forward. And now for number 5, last but certainly not least, engagement rate. Engagement rate is the number one metric I want you to track when you're looking at your analytics from month to month. The engagement rate is a percentage. It looks at the amount of reach or impressions that your content gets and the amount of engagement that it gets, including saves, shares, clicks, comments, likes, all of it. And it comes up with a percentage to tell you out of all the people who saw this content, what percentage of people actually interacted with it. I'm going to go over an example to hopefully make this a little easier to understand. Let's say you post a piece of content that gets 100 impressions. Out of that 100 impressions, you receive 10 pieces of engagement, whether it's likes, comments, shares, whatever that is. That's a 10% engagement rate. I know it's math. Stick with me. Now, if you have another piece of content that reaches 1,000, it has 1,000 impressions, and you get that same 10 engagements, that's only 1% now. That's not 10% anymore. We want to get 100 engagements to keep our 10% engagement rate. Now, I used 10% as an example because it's easy math. 10% is probably not where you're going to be right now. I do think that 10% engagement rate on each post is a great goal, but that's probably not where we're going to start. Engagement rates vary from platform to platform, but I want to share with you some averages to kind of give you an idea of what success can look like. The average engagement rate per post for businesses in 2024 on Facebook is about 0.06%. Really low. But smaller pages, for example, fewer than 10,000 fans, see a higher engagement rate of about 0.43%. So again, nowhere near that 10% we're talking about, but I want you to be way above average. This is just to let you know and maybe give you a little encouragement that if we're not starting off at 10%, that's okay. On Instagram, the average engagement rate per post is about 0.47%, but if we look at those businesses with 10,000 followers or less, we're looking at 1.22%. So that's higher than Facebook, but still nowhere close to that 10% we talked about. You're probably going to notice this trend as accounts get bigger, the engagement rate does tend to drop. So you may see some higher numbers, and as you get more reach and more followers, you may see that engagement number go down. And that is normal. That's okay. All it means is that that original following you had that's super, super loyal, they're still there liking and commenting on everything. And some of your newer followers who maybe aren't as dedicated yet, haven't completely bought in yet, they're just not as engaged at the moment, but we can get them there. I also want to share some numbers on TikTok because TikTok might be the most encouraging when it comes to engagement rates. If TikTok works for you and your business, their median engagement rate per post is significantly higher, starting at about 5.69%. This means that for small businesses who want to grow quickly, TikTok could be a good option as long as your audience is there and you can create the right type of content to live on that platform. So what's next? Well, I want you to open up your analytics and you're going to look at those 5 metrics we just talked about. And I want you to look back over maybe the last 6 months, maybe a year if you're feeling it, and find out what your averages are for each of these. Then I want you to set some specific attainable goals. Think maybe a 5% to 10% increase month to month that you can hopefully track and see that you're growing. The thing is here, we want to be coming back into the analytics every single month to see what has worked and what hasn't worked, and then look at the trends overall and the patterns that we can find. By focusing on these 5 key metrics that we've talked about, you're looking at the numbers that truly reflect your impact and your growth potential on social media. If you're ready to dive a little deeper and take a more goal-oriented approach to social media that's backed by data in your analytics, I invite you to download my free guide. It will walk you through step-by-step how to create a social media strategy that will really help you grow your business online. If you learned something from this video, please do give it a like. And if you don't want to miss any future videos from me, don't forget to subscribe so my next videos are really easy to find. If you have any questions about analytics or how these numbers work, drop it in the comments below. I would love to help. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, stay social.